Terence Crawford intensifies his preparation for the highly anticipated rematch against Errol Spence, responding to fresh training footage of his rival. Let's delve into it. In a strategic move that Crawford believes played a pivotal role in his previous victory, he made a critical decision regarding his technique. Bob Arum echoes this sentiment, attributing significance to Spence's challenges against southpaw boxers. Arum asserts, "When you scrutinize Spence's career, what stands out as a key to Crawford's triumph? What I observed was out of his extensive record of 28 fights, he only faced 2 southpaws. That statistic speaks volumes. It suggests that Spence or his team deliberately avoided southpaw opponents."
Speaking of fights that you love, man, we officially got it. No more ifs, ands, or buts about it. July 29th, Spence versus Crawford. You've always been, of the belief that Crawford will win that fight, possibly by stoppage. Do you still think that, or do you kind of look at it and say, you're leaning towards Spence a little bit now?
Not leaning towards Spence. I always believed that Crawford was the better fighter, that Crawford would win either by points or knockout, probably by knockout, but maybe by points. I really believe that Terence has too much talent for Spence, who's a very talented fighter, but I think Crawford is more talented than Spence is.
Crawford's notable strength lies in his ability to seamlessly switch between stances. Instead of his customary right-handed approach with occasional switches to southpaw, he opted to confront Spence solely as a southpaw in their previous encounter. The move proved effective, catching Spence off guard, especially when Crawford, being ambidextrous, unleashed powerful jabs with his right hand, causing significant damage. Arum recalls, "The moment I saw Terence adopting the southpaw stance, I knew the fight was in the bag." Spence, however, downplays concerns about Crawford's switch-hitting prowess. He remarks, "To be honest, I'm not bothered. I've sparred with southpaws, orthodox fighters, switch hitters, you name it. I just need to stay focused and be aware when he switches back and forth." Adding another layer to the narrative, several seasoned professionals opine that Spence might fare better in the 154-pound weight class rather than at 147. Jaron Ennis, in particular, advocates for a weight jump, believing it could enhance Spence's prospects. Leonard Ellerby advocates for Errol Spence's potential move to the 154-pound weight class, emphasizing the sacrifice Spence made for the fans in granting Crawford the opportunity for a rematch. Ellerby acknowledges the significance of the 7-pound difference.
One thing about Errol, he's very consistent, and it's hard to beat a guy who's young, athletic, and who's very consistent. He gets into a rhythm and he does things, and it's hard to beat a big, strong guy with a good jab, and he stays with an educated jab, and he understands the game.
Stating, 154 is 7 pounds north, it does make a difference. Recognizing both Spence and Crawford as exceptional fighters, Ellerby expresses his wholehearted support for Spence's decision. He says, "If that's what Errol wants to do in the rematch, I support him wholeheartedly. He knows what he wants, and if Crawford grants him the opportunity, it's for the fans. Errol had an off night, but he wants the chance to redeem himself, and I support that." Sean Porter echoes the sentiment, emphasizing his advocacy for the rematch at 154. Porter asserts his belief in Spence's ability to make adjustments and come back stronger at the higher weight class. He comments, "Especially at 154, and mentally he's strong. This is just a wrinkle in his career, and he wants to fix that wrinkle." Even Spence himself expresses a preference for the rematch at 154 instead of 147. However, Tim Bradley offers a different perspective, doubting that a move to 154 would significantly benefit Spence against someone of Crawford's caliber. Bradley predicts a similar outcome, emphasizing Spence's predictability in the ring. He warns, "You cannot be easy to read when you're in the ring with a great fighter that can make adjustments and read you like a book. It's going to be worse the second time for you." Adding to the cautionary voices, Malik Scott shares similar sentiments, underlining the potential risks involved in Spence's return to the ring, especially against a fighter of Crawford's nature. As the two fighters clashed in the ring, it became a lopsided affair, an encounter I, for one, do not wish to witness again, and one that I believe should not be repeated. The prospect of Crawford dominating Spence once more, or, heaven forbid, even more severely, is something I find difficult to support. Errol Spence is more than a boxer. He's a family man with a successful life, a history of accomplishments, and considerable wealth. I hesitate to envision him enduring such a one-sided contest again. The move to 154 pounds only exacerbates my concerns. It's not just about Spence coming in larger and better hydrated. Crawford, too, had to meet the weight requirement. Shane Mosley, reflecting on the first fight, suggests that Spence may have been weight-drained, expressing surprise at the outcome. Mosley notes, "I thought Spence had a little more power and energy. I expected Crawford to win, but not like that. Spence seemed weak, and I believe mentally he wasn't fully there." Addressing concerns that this perspective might be viewed as an excuse, Mosley insists it's an honest assessment. He anticipates a better performance from Spence and Crawford in a rematch, but acknowledges the potential toll the first bout may have taken on Spence. The aftermath remains uncertain. Amidst varying opinions, Terence expresses respect for Errol Spence and signals his readiness for the impending rematch.
Spence. Back comes Crawford with the jab. Down goes Spence.